I don't know. I like let's say no, I might be here. There is not a place to plug into. I figured I just recorded this usually, so I'm not doing a story on this right now. I figured I might go and put on this. Is there a, do you know, for example, who I would talk to about audio stuff? Oh, Suresh. Okay, great. Awesome.
You guys met?
We have met a while ago. I can also just set my mic up like over here and, kind of handle.
What did you have? What did you bring?
I just have a regular Sony recorder with an XLR. So I can plug into a mult box if they have it, but it
Do you have an XLR?
Yeah, I do.
Scott?
Yeah, Suresh.
I met you here.
Yeah.
There's an XLR out, jack, way on that wall.
On this wall?
Yeah, just don't mess with me. I don't know how it works. This is Steven, a volunteer who's helping me. He knows more about sound than I do.
If I plug an XLR into that jack on the wall, will work? Sorry. I have a solid kit recording, so I can just plug my XLR.
You're not going to try to touch the room.
Yeah, if it comes out, if the audio comes out of that, then I'll record. Yeah, I just want to also record up. You don't want to. I think it's rowdy in here. Well, now I'll pull it out. Wait, rowdy in a way. Like, rowdy in a good way. Thank you. Nice to see you again, Suresh.
Likewise.
Welcome, everybody! Please find your seats. Let's get this started. Good evening, everyone. I think we can do better. Good evening, everyone. Yeah. Okay, wait, you know what? I think we also just got to get one more thing out of the way. When I say C, you say hop. C. Hop. C. Hop. When I say social, you say housing. Social. Housing. Social. Housing. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Arisa Samani. I am a proud board member with House Our Neighbors, and welcome every single one of you to our first ever State of Social Housing event. Now, just a couple of housekeeping items before we get into the heart of the program tonight and to some of our incredible guests. We have bathrooms down the hall to the right. We have a kids' corner in the back for our future organizers. And we have food and beverages back at the end of the room. And besides the Seahawks win, we can do it again at the end. Just don't tell them when to make time for it. Let's talk about why we're smiling tonight. February 2026 marks two huge anniversaries for our movement, for this movement for social housing and housing justice in Seattle. It marks 3 years since we passed I-135. On Valentine's Day 2023, because isn't that the best gift ever? It marks 1 year since we passed Prop pieces like this. And I just want to echo my gratitude to all of you for being here tonight, because this is what it means to build power. This is what it means to build resistance. It's literally room by room, block by block, person by person. And it starts with movements like this. So give yourself a round of applause for being here tonight. And it's just that much more important because of what we are seeing outside of these rooms, outside of these halls, across the country. We keep us safe. We are our best resistance. We are going to get ourselves out of the mess that we find ourselves in, but it starts by getting to know each other. It starts by organizing. It starts by having conversations like these. This is how we build power, and I'm so thankful to all of you for being here on a Tuesday night to celebrate how far we have come in our journey for social housing and to be part of the future of it. So let's kick it off, shall we, with our special guest for the evening. Please welcome someone who cited this movement for social housing, as her reason for running for mayor, and that is Madame Mayor Katie Wilson. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I have a slight cold, so my voice is a little off here. Well, this room is full. I love to see it. Love to see it. I'm really, really excited to be here tonight. Yes. Today is a really big day for social housing. A few things happened today. Our city council passed the interlocal agreement to actually transfer funds over to our new social housing developer. And we know what the number is. But I'm not going to tell it to you. I'm going to leave that to Tiffany. But what I will say is that it's more than we thought. Quite a bit more than we thought. Because you know what? This city is filthy rich. There's a lot of wealth here. There's a lot of money here. And, you know, this feels a little bit like when we passed the Jumpstart tax back in 2020, right? Like, we knew that there was enormous amounts of wealth flowing through this city. And we just kind of like tapped into a vein, or just like opened a little spigot, and just like, $400 million a year, okay, right? It's not that much, by the way. But yeah, there is a lot of wealth in the city, and you know, we continue to have one of the most regressive tax systems in the country, in this state, and it is very gratifying to know that we're going to be able to use a little bit of that wealth and put it to work building housing and operating housing. Another thing we're celebrating today, House Bill 1687 passed out of the House floor. This is going to amend the Housing Cooperation Law to include public development authorities like the Seattle Social Housing Developer. And this is going to give me and our city council the flexibility to open up more of our city to social housing. And of course, we are celebrating milestones. We're celebrating the anniversary of the passage of Initiative 135 and the passage of Proposition 1A last February. Those votes were not symbolic. They were instructions that Seattle was ready. And seeing establishment politicians line up in opposition to raising progressive revenue for mixed income, permanently affordable, publicly owned housing, while the public overwhelmingly supported it, showed this fundamental mismatch. People saw what was needed, but a lot of people were committed to business as usual. But voters saw through it, and so here we are today. And this is why I decided to run for mayor. So 1 year ago today, I had zero thought in my mind about running for mayor. 1 year ago tomorrow, I saw the results of Prop 1A, and I decided, you know what, I think it's time. But you know what? My relationship with House Our Neighbors and with this work didn't begin when I became mayor, and it didn't begin a year ago. It began years earlier, alongside many of you. And as I look out here today, I see a lot of people who I have been in the trenches with for many, many years, fighting for progressive revenue to address our housing and homelessness crisis. And I think what we have all learned eventually you win. The people in this room didn't just from the sidelines, didn't just vote. You volunteered, you organized. And this is what sustained organizing looks like, and this is what sustained organizing can achieve. And in a moment when housing costs continue to rise and displacement pressures remain real, social housing is going to give us a tool that can match the scale of the problem. My administration is committed to working with the developer, not around it, providing technical support, helping to navigate systems that were not designed for social housing, and clearing barriers rather than adding new ones. Building something new inside existing systems is hard. I think a lot of us know that from very personal, long experience. My administration's job at City Hall is to make that possible, and that is my pledge to you. We're going to do everything we can to make the new social housing developers successful in the years ahead. And we also know that what we're doing, this work that we're doing, is part of a growing national movement for social housing. Other cities are watching us. They're watching what we do here. Advocates across the country are learning from us. We have the chance to lead, and not just with ideas, but with implementation. I-135 and Prop 1A passed because you all organized. And social housing is going to succeed in Seattle because we're all going to stay engaged, and we're all going to keep fighting, and we're all going to keep building. And my commitment is to keep pushing for the policies, the funding, the systems that this work is going to require to move from vision to volume. And I'm really, really grateful to be doing this work alongside a movement that has already changed what our city believes is possible. Thank you all for all of your work.
Let's give it up for Mayor Wilson one more time. Isn't it so powerful what leadership feels like when it, when it backs social housing and backs what the people want? To make these big ideas work, to ensure that social housing succeeds, we need to ensure that our staff and our leadership are equipped and organized and ready to go. So to give us an update on what Seattle Social Housing is doing under its new leadership, we are going to feature its new leadership. Please join me in welcoming Tiffany McCoy.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tiffany McCoy. I use she, her pronouns. Up until recently, I was the former co-executive director of House Our Neighbors, but now I am the interim CEO of the Seattle Social Housing Developer. It took Vienna, Austria, more than 100 years to get to where it is today on social housing. And that's in another country, a different part of the world, with a very different political and cultural climate. They did it by starting small, while holding on to a bold, radical vision. A vision of what housing might look like if it was treated as a public good. Eventually, they built a housing infrastructure geared toward people, not profit. One so robust that it's been impossible to tear down. And it is a model that is credited with helping provide hundreds of thousands of people in Vienna with a high quality of life, where they regularly pay less than 30%, often less than 20% of their income in rent. Yes. This is what we hope to do here in Seattle. Every day, we are taking small steps to make this bold vision of social housing a reality. And each and every one of you in this room are part of that. Throughout our campaign for social housing over the past 4 years, as Mayor Wilson talked about, we never cowered to what was deemed politically possible. In part because we knew fundamentally that we could not rely on the federal government to care for our neighbors. And unfortunately, that is true now more than ever. But you, dear participants here tonight, you never doubted that we could house all of our neighbors. You gathered signatures. Raise your hand, you gathered signatures. Beautiful. You knocked on doors.
Yeah.
You voted for social housing. Not once, but twice. As long as you lived in Seattle, of course. And here we are now, standing with the support of the mayor of Seattle, beginning to make social housing a reality in the city. Just today, as the mayor announced, the city council, thank you Councilmember Foster, I see you here in attendance. The city council voted unanimously for the social housing developer to begin receiving the excess compensation tax that you all fought for. You all are ready to hear the numbers. So I will get to it. Approximately, please, to the media, these are estimates, they may change, but as of today, approximately 170 companies in our city are going to be paying a 5% tax on each employee making more than $1 million. And very, very soon, just a few mere weeks, we will soon have more than $115 million. $115 million to provide social housing to hundreds of thousands of people in our city. We're not there yet to that part, but we're going to get there. Again, small steps, year by year, day by day. So that means that hundreds of people this year will benefit from housing that remains permanently affordable. Housing that is publicly owned and passed down through generations. Housing that works for people at a variety of income levels and helps prevent them from falling into homelessness. But there will continue to be naysayers and those who want us to fail. But we cannot fail if we remain steadfast, engaged, and radically hopeful. Remember, hope is a discipline. The naysayers will continue to say that resident governance will not work. They'll continue to say that middle-income people don't want to live with no lower-income neighbors. They will say, we aren't Vienna, we aren't Singapore, we aren't France, we aren't Britain, we aren't New Zealand, yada, yada, yada. And then they'll say as well that you didn't follow exactly the model that you put in this one video during I-135 in every single building. But let them critique us. We will continue to build, and whether we're opening our first, second, 10th building, our doors will remain open to all. That isn't to say that there won't be setbacks or mistakes, we're humans after all, but there will also be many successes. Lawmakers, grassroots, and institutional housing developers, and others across the country are watching us, will be watching us, and they will be wondering if they too can make social housing work in their cities and states. At Seattle Social Housing, we've already assembled an incredible team. Ginger Siegel, who I appointed within a couple of days of being appointed as the interim CEO, is a rock star with close to 40 years of housing development experience. She knows that renting and buying a home in Seattle is more expensive than it should be. She is our Chief Real Estate Development Officer. She was on the Department of Commerce's Housing Trust Fund Advisory Team and previously worked at Community Frameworks, which is responsible for $128 million in real estate initiatives. James Mayton, James, I'm going to ask you to just raise your hand. I'm going to embarrass you. Hello, James. James Mayton, who experienced periods of housing instability as a foster child growing up in Tacoma and has spent more than a decade helping provide housing to others, is our new Director of Acquisitions. He has worked Seattle commercial real estate for the last 15 years, most of that multifamily. We are deeply honored and lucky to have him on our team. Michael Eliason, who's not here, I know he's at his kid's band concert, something tonight, is a world-renowned researcher, writer, and architect. He is our Director of Design and Policy. He has 20 years in architecture, with about a third of that spent in housing, feasibility, development, passive house, policy, and research. Liliana Fowler, I'm also going to say hello, Lily. Raise your hand, wave hello, people. Lily was born in Mexico and grew up on the border. She is our Director of Communications. She brings 20 years of experience in journalism and communications. She spent years working in public media, including NPR and PBS, both locally and nationally. Yeah. Mizan Howard, who grew up in a refugee camp in Sudan, is our executive business partner and board liaison. She brings more than 15 years of experience in executive operations, strategic partnerships, and community center leadership. We also have an interim chief financial officer, Cole, who is on for us while we try to find a permanent CFO. And to top it all off, we have a new office space in Pioneer Square. A Seattle social housing developer will remain rooted in communities, and we intend to lead with humility, clarity, and purpose. We will bring transparency, joy, hard work, and a renewed admiration for the public sector, because who does not love the public sector? The meeting of our housing needs deserves nothing less. We are accountable to you all, the voters, to this vision. Talk to me, please. Raise your concerns. Share your insights. This is one of the greatest responsibilities of my life, and I hope to make you proud.
Social housing developer is making, we are going to shift gears. We talked about the what, now we are going to talk about the how. How do we scale this across the country? How do we take the history and the organizing work ahead and apply it where it needs to be applied? So let's give a warm welcome to our co-ED, Jeff Paul. Everything we need to know about the future of House Our Neighbors from the state legislature to internal watchdog efforts. Take it away, Jeff.
Thank you. Hello. It's so good to see you all tonight. Thank you so much, Arisa. Thank you so much, Katie. Thank you so much, Tiffany. But most importantly, thanks to all of you for being here tonight. You're going to hear me say this a couple of times tonight. But really, it's all of you, everyone watching online, and the hundreds of other volunteers who have shown up over the last several years who have made this a reality. You all are the reason why we get to have our first ever annual State of Social Housing event, and why we're going to have a whole bunch more moving forward. So give it up for yourselves. Yeah. This movement has been such an incredible experience for me. It's been so wonderful to be a part of this. I've been with House Our Neighbors since the very beginning. Yeah, it's just been amazing to grow in this space. And I'm so honored to be in this position now, holding down interim co-executive director while Tiffany's off doing amazing things as interim of the CEO of the social housing developer. So thank you all. I'm gonna ground us a little bit tonight, just kind of reminding us how we got here. We've heard a lot about our path to get here tonight, so I won't stick on it for too much. But I want to start with, this came together as a coalition, ready to fight against what we saw as a terrible plan coming out of the city government. We came together to fight against Charter Amendment 29, which was, can I get a boo? Boo, Charter Amendment 29. Who here was here in Charter Amendment 29 days? Yeah, rough times. So that was a time when there wasn't a lot of folks around. We felt pretty lonely. We were like, hey, surely other people see this. This is a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's this amendment that's going to enshrine sweeps into our city charter. We brought together powerful housing advocates to come fight against it, and we won. We kicked that off with the ballot, which was very exciting. And we were like, you know, this is nice. We like winning. We want to keep doing it. So we pulled together an amazing coalition, and we did something y'all maybe heard a couple times tonight. We ran an initiative past I-135 and created the social housing developer, which was an amazing achievement. And pulled together a really broad coalition that then went on to win payroll tax on the wealthiest companies in this city and some of the wealthiest companies in the history of human civilization by a 2-to-1 vote in Seattle. And that is because of all of you. It is because of the coalition that we built, labor, housing advocates, Seattle Greenways, tons of different folks showing up, Seattle DSA, making sure that we create a city where people can afford to live. And we are moving forward with that vision. That was a year ago today. Since then, as you've heard, our political opposition has been voted out of office. We have a very friendly city council. We have a friendly mayor. Right now, we have senators from outside of Seattle introducing legislation in the state legislature to support social housing, which is pretty cool. We're taking meetings with city council members across Washington. We're taking meetings with city council members across the US how to share this vision, how to bring social housing not only just here in Seattle, but to the rest of Washington and through the state. That is all because of you. That is all because of the work that this community has done, and I'm so proud to be a part of it. So one more time for yourselves, this is what we've done. We've had such an amazing time. We've really built this power because we are rooted in this grassroots movement work. We are rooted in relational organizing, and that is what is going to continue to propel this work. That is what House Our Neighbors is committed to, and that is what we are going to move forward from here today. So shout out to all of you one more time. Alright, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about what House Our Neighbors is going to be up to. I'm going to break it down in we have three different buckets moving forward. So our first bucket is going to be what we're calling external organizing. So that is basically setting the political terrain for social housing to be successful. That's going to be legislative session. That's going to be the comprehensive plan. Talk about that more in a bit. But that's that external stuff, making sure that the rest of the political world is ready for social housing. The second bucket is going to be what we're calling internal organizing. That is all of our work with the social housing developer. That is not only working directly in collaboration with them on things like organizing tenants in these new social housing buildings that we're going to have really soon. But it's also about engaging with community ahead of those acquisitions to make sure people in these cities, in these neighborhoods, know what's coming and what they can expect from social housing, how it's going to be a benefit to their community. And then, of course, part of that is also continuing our work as a watchdog organization. Tiffany, we love you, but we're also watching, and making sure that the social housing developer stays on track with the vision as outlined in the charter and outlined by this movement that has done so much to make sure that we got to the point where we're at today and kept us on track. And then our third piece is going to be all about base building and expanding our movement beyond Seattle. I'll talk about that in a second. But I want to dive a little bit deeper into each of those buckets. But as I said, our volunteers are really what power this movement. So I'm going to hand it over to Monica, who's going to kick off a little bit about external organizing. Monica, shout out to you. Monica is one of our board members, and she's going to share a little bit about her experience as one of our volunteers.
Hi everyone, for those who don't know me, my name is Monica. My journey to volunteering with House Our Neighbors actually started at the Cap Hill Farmers Market. I was canvassed to sign I-135. and then became a Prop 1A volunteer, and now I'm a proud House Our Neighbors Education Fund board member. I was really just trying to buy some kale, and here I am speaking to you all. So here I am from kale to giving you guys some highlights on House Our Neighbors' first lobby day. First and foremost, huge shout out to our partners at Washington Can for partnering with us. They provided invaluable training sessions leading up to lobby day, just to make sure all of our volunteers had the skills and the confidence needed to use their voice and advocate for policies that would benefit everyday Washingtonians. So couldn't have done it without Washington Can. So thankful for their partnership with us that day. I would also love to shout out the over 100 volunteers who took the day off to join us in Olympia. Our volunteers spoke to over 60 legislators, which is over a third of the entire legislature. So that was huge. The impact was truly felt. The everyday people, not just the corporate lobbyists in those hallways. For many volunteers, including myself, it was their first lobby day, and I have to say the atmosphere was incredibly supportive, especially just, that day I was really truly just a volunteer. I was not House Our Neighbors board member. I was there to learn from everyone equally. Just being surrounded by folks, it was so moving to listen to so many young folks or folks getting involved for the first time, sharing their stories either from growing up in public housing or growing up with insecure housing, and just being told that, your voice matters, your story matters, it's important. So that was truly empowering to witness as a volunteer. Another highlight as well was getting to meet volunteers from around the state. Many of them just hadn't heard of social housing before, so it's always great to get to plug the good word when you meet folks from across the state. Don't worry, we're coming for you as well. So yeah, just in general, as I was a volunteer, it was just so great to see the transition from folks in the morning kind of anxiously practicing their testimony to, at the end of the day, truly feeling uplifted from being able to use their voices. And then, as the mayor said earlier in her speech, I think it was all worth it in the end, as we heard that HB 1687 passed out of the House today. We really couldn't do it without our volunteers, and this is sort of an open call to action for all of you to join us. We have monthly volunteer events where you can connect with social housing advocates as well. We have one coming up on February 24th, details coming. But feel free to bring a friend. If you don't, I think we might just find them at the Capitol Farmers Market and make them come hang out with us. So yeah, thank you so much, and shout out to Han for just creating such a lovely atmosphere for volunteers.
One more time for Monica. Let's go, Monica. I'm going to take a sec to really dig in on that announcement about House Bill 1687. Who here has heard of House Bill 1687? Good, you all read my emails, thank God. I've sent a couple. Huge news, literally an hour before this started, I was like, oh my God, we get to make this amazing announcement. Representative Reed emailed us and said, amazing news, caucus has just seen this, it should get to a vote here soon. Details coming, and then 20 minutes later was like, oh, it's got a vote. It's going to be voted on in about 45 minutes. And then I got a text from one of Washington Can's lobbyists, Waldo, who we have partnered with for many years, that it had passed. Which is super exciting, and for those who aren't as super familiar with the details, House Bill 1687 will basically give Seattle social housing developers and any social housing developer throughout the state the same ability that housing authorities currently have to enter into what's called a housing cooperation agreement with a municipality. Basically, it's just a cool way of giving the social housing developer a lot of flexibility around how it builds its buildings. So there's a lot of different building codes, zoning codes that a lot of developments have to follow, and it can make it challenging to build what you want to build. But as long as we have the support of City Council for each of those projects, we will be able to build much more flexibly, much more quickly, hopefully more housing, hopefully at a lower cost, which is just great for our big goals of building tons and tons of social housing all throughout the city. So huge news today. We're obviously going to be sending out more information. It's going to the Senate very soon, where we have lined up support from the Senate Majority Leader, the Chair of the Housing Committee, the Vice Chair of the Housing Committee, and basically cleared the way in the Senate. So we are feeling really good that this is going to get through this session, which is a really huge deal. And shout out to all of our volunteers who came out for lobbying. Thank you so much. Another piece of this kind of external setting, organizing, setting the stage, is the comprehensive plan. Who here knows about Seattle's comprehensive plan? Wow. I bet very few rooms have that many hands go up for that question. It's pretty wonky, it's pretty in the weeds, but it turns out it's really important. Land use turns out hugely important for building the housing that we need to build in the city. Currently, there's a lot of work that just got done. Shout out to the City Council for implementing the Phase 1 amendments and changes. The comprehensive plan is well on its way. Shout out to Tara, I see clapping right there, who is a big part of making that happen. We are on our way to passing a really ambitious comprehensive plan, but we're going to need more push, a bigger push. We're just now entering into Phase 2, and one of the big things that House Our Neighbors is going to be focusing on in the next few months, on top of implementation of social housing, is making sure that we pass the most ambitious comprehensive plan that we can. So please get involved, please get connected. We're going to be out hitting the streets. We're going to be letting people know how important it is for us to be able to pass a comprehensive plan that allows for us to build social housing in more parts of the city for more people. So get plugged in, get involved. We'd love to see you at farmers markets, knocking doors, and all the things above. All right, next thing I'm going to move us on to is our internal organizing work. Again, I'm bringing another volunteer up to talk about the work that we are doing in partnership with the social housing developer. Alicia has been an amazing volunteer, and she's going to talk a little bit about her experience. Come on up here.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alicia. I am a volunteer with House Our Neighbors. I got involved with the Prop 1A campaign. Signature gathering, door knocking. It was my first time doing anything like that. And it started because I recognized that we had a homeless crisis in our city. It's been devastating to watch. I work in Pioneer Square, and one day there was a man screaming for help. And when I went to go help him, he said, "Stay away from me." And in that moment, I was like, okay, I can't help him in this moment. How can I help? So that's what got me into the housing fight. And honestly, as I started to get more involved in this housing discussion, started to get more involved in the comprehensive plan, I started to look at my own life. I spend 50% of my income on my rent every month. Every month. That's how it's been my whole life. So to me, that's normal. When my landlord adds a new fee for me to pay my rent, that I have to pay to use a laundry machine when I pay for the water every month, this was all just normal to me. And it's been getting involved in this fight that I realized what is normal is a policy choice. These things are not innate. These are policy choices. And so because of that, I started to realize that the only way things change is if people get involved to make things change.
That's right.
Yeah, it's true. It's kind of a bummer. Like, I think we all just wish things worked how we wanted them to work, but sadly not the case. And so that's what I found out also as being a volunteer with House Our Neighbors, that I was so excited for the Seattle social housing developer. But then I found out that things weren't quite going the way that I had planned, the way that I had signed up to door knock, to get people to get Prop 1A on the ballot. The charter and the vision for social housing looked like it was going to change. And being a volunteer and learning that my voice matters, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go to these board meetings. I'm going to express why I got involved with House Our Neighbors, how I want to make sure that Seattle isn't a luxury city, that this is a city for the people, that cities aren't considered just for the wealthy few. And so I went to the board meetings to express my concerns. And I'm so excited that being a volunteer with House Our Neighbors doesn't just mean I got it on the ballot and then I walked away. Being a volunteer for House Our Neighbors means being part of growing this vision, because it isn't just the vision of the people who wrote the initial charter, it's also our vision for the city that we want to live in. And when I look at my future, in the past, I thought that that would mean I own a single family home. With social housing, that's not my dream. My dream is to have an apartment in one of these places. And honestly, part of the reason that's my dream is because I think a lot about what my future will look like and how I'm going to take care of my mom. And I think a lot of us think, how will we take care of our aging parents? And I turn to a lot of my friends, and a lot of my friends say, I don't know. And when I look at social housing, I say, I do know. So that's why I'm so excited to be here today, and that's why I'm so excited to be part of the House Our Neighbors, the entire journey to make sure that this organization is also a part of our vision, our collective vision for our future. Thank you.
One more time for Alicia. While I wipe my tears. No, thank you so much for sharing that beautiful vision, Alicia. I think that is the vision that really grounds me and grounds so many of you in this work. What is it going to look like when we have social housing in this city that families can move into, folks can age in place in without worrying about what's going to happen if the rent goes up when they're on a fixed income. I remember when I was out canvassing different businesses, I went to a bar and I talked with the bar owner, seeing if they just put up a little yes on Prop 1A sign. And I ended up getting in this hour-long conversation with a man at the bar who was talking about how him, his siblings, and some of their grandkids are all chipping in on his parents, their grandparents' rent to make sure that they can afford to live in this city so that the family can take care of them. And how horrible that was, and how devastating it was, and how they were on a wait list for affordable housing for seniors, but it was an 8-year-long wait list. So this is what we're fighting for. We are fighting for dignified housing for everybody. And it's so important that we keep that in. So thank you so much, Alicia, for grounding in that vision. Yeah, this is the work. This is the real work. We are making sure that we are not just passing something and moving on to the next fight. We are going to be with the social housing developer for the long haul. So we are going to continue to monitor, continue to be a watchdog agency, but we're also going to get to do a lot of really cool stuff with them. And so I'm really excited to share some of that with you all. This is some upcoming work for House Our Neighbors. We're still figuring out exactly what it's going to look like, but social housing will be coming to Seattle in 2026. Just to be very, very clear. So this year there will be social housing tenants. There will be many. And House Our Neighbors is going to be working in partnership with the social housing developer to engage with community throughout the city to make sure those neighbors know what is coming to their neighborhood, and so they can see social housing as a real asset to their communities, as a place that makes sure that people who are living in their communities but they're one missed paycheck away from being priced out, they'll have a place where they can stay, a place that is permanently affordable to them, and they won't be priced out of the neighborhoods that they care about. That is what we are fighting for, and also for, as we're building new buildings, what are those buildings going to look like? What are those public assets and community assets going to be in their neighborhoods? We want to hear from people, so we're going to be doing a lot of outreach with different coalition partners, different community groups, and figuring out what it is that folks want to see. So we're really excited for that work. And then once we do have those buildings, the next big chapter for us is really engaging with those new social housing tenants. From the very beginning, House Our Neighbors has been very clear. We want social housing to be renter run and renter governed. Really, really important for us. That's why we put a renter majority in the board for the social housing developer. So once there are tenants, they will be selecting who is going to be on the board that oversees the developer and oversees the work that Tiffany and others are doing. That's really important. But that doesn't just happen overnight. Renters don't just, if anyone here has anyone here done a get out the vote drive? Yeah. You might be surprised. Sometimes people don't just magically vote. It turns out a lot of people don't do it. And we are under no illusion that is going to be any different for these tenants. So we're going to have to go in, we're going to have to connect with these tenants, let them know what it means to be a social housing tenant. Let them know what rights they have, not only to elect the leadership on the board, but every single building will have the opportunity to form a renters council to talk about what improvements they want in their buildings, to organize and negotiate with their management and figure out what does it mean for them to form a home in this building. How can they connect with their neighbors and what do they want to see? And we're really excited for the opportunity to build out what that system is going to look like and how we're going to work with the leadership and the social housing developer to make that happen. So that's just some of the fun stuff coming up. I'm really excited. Please jump in on this journey with us. We are eager to partner with especially so many other organizations and community members throughout the city to talk about what that vision is. So let's please get in touch. Please reach out to me. We want to work with all of you. And then the final piece, our third bucket, is that base building and movement expansion. And this is like super, super fun stuff. This is just talking about how cool social housing is to more people, which is one of my favorite things to do. So this is us saying Seattle was never going to be the final place that we envisioned for social housing. It was always the place where we started, but we are going to keep moving forward. And we are already doing it. Like I said, a senator from Redmond is the one who put one of our bills forward for social housing because she is excited to see social housing on the east side. Shout out to Alex. Where's Alex? Alex and I went down to another city and gave a presentation to some very energized and excited organizers who want to bring social housing to their city in Washington. Shout out to Akash. I don't know, Akash, I haven't seen you. Gave a presentation to a bunch of college students about what social housing it is and how they can get involved in fighting for a better future. So many of our volunteers are already doing this work of telling their networks what is social housing and how can it benefit communities near them. But that is going to be a huge big push for us moving forward. We cannot just stop here. Social housing works best as a large network, so we're going to be fighting to expand it, bring it to other cities, other parts of the state, and other parts of the country. We're going to talk to people in San Francisco. We're going to talk to people in Kansas City. We are building this movement that is truly nationwide, and it is going to bring social housing across the country within our lifetimes. So that is just a really, really exciting thing to think about. We're going to keep on pushing forward. I hope that you all are part of that. That can look like tabling at a farmer's market. That can look like coming with me to give a presentation to a community group, a church, whoever. But we're just going to keep on spreading the good news, keep on connecting with our communities and our neighbors, and sharing the good word that social housing is something that you can bring to your city and it can meaningfully change your lives. Thank you all so much. To talk a bit more about those opportunities, I'm going to turn it off to Naisheen, my amazing co-executive director in House Our Neighbors. She's going to share a little bit more about how to get plugged in.
All right, hi. Thank you, Jeff. I'm so thankful that we have Jeff to step in so quickly, willingly, and ably into our leadership. That's really the beauty of this deeply engaged movement that we've built over the past 5 years, that we have so many wonderful people, many of you in the room, who we can draw upon to come during this time when we need a little bit more help. I am very sad to lose my counterpart of the past two plus years who we started this organization with, but we have amazing people to step up and fill that gap. In particular, I wanted to shout out our board members and our steering committee members. Where are you guys? Raise your hand or stand up. They're scattered around the room. They've been so responsive and gracious with their time during this moment of change, and we're really, really grateful to all of them. So Jeff has talked about a few of the great ways you can get involved with our work. I'm going to talk about one more. This is our Social Housing Activator program. This is both a fundraising, thanks John's holding up a sign. This is both a fundraising and a movement building initiative. So Social Housing Activator members make recurring donations, monthly or quarterly, starting at just $5 a month, very accessible to House Our Neighbors. And the movement building piece is that we have additional quarterly events for our members and other opportunities. This includes a legislative session preview we had with Representative Reed in November, a little happy hour we did right before this event, and we're even piloting a little book club, and we'll see how that goes the next couple months. So currently we have about 120 people signed up for this program, which is amazing, since we launched in September, and that accounts for 10% of our 2026 budget, which is significant. This allows our tiny staff of right now 2 people to focus our time on the education and organizing and movement building work instead of fundraising. You still have to do a little bit of that, but it decreases the amount. And so this is super important for us, and it also subsidizes our free and accessible programming that's available to everyone, which is the bulk of our work. So instead of just hearing from me, I'd love to bring up one of our social housing activators, Alex Lofton, to talk a little bit about why he supports our work.
Thank you. Hey everybody, I'm Alex. I'm an entrepreneur who's been working in housing for about 10 years. I'm also a proud Seattle area native, go Hawks. And actually, tonight I'm actually representing the social housing activators in the room. And firstly, thank you to all the organizers, the staff, the volunteers, coalition members for getting us to this day. Some pretty big announcements that were really exciting. But just to share a little bit more, over my career, I've developed an obsession with innovation, especially innovation that delivers real results for people, for the things that we need to thrive. And I'm especially drawn to innovation that's also practical. That's not just a big vision, not magical thinking, not just someday, but actually working on making systems adapt and work for us now. My own story is what anchored my obsession with innovation in housing. So I started my company because my family showed me the power of what a village can do. And what happens for the members of that village when they come together. I truly won the lottery on love, got loving parents, but money was always tight. And it was my aunts, my uncles, my grandparents, family friends that would pool their resources, whether it was time, money, connections, to make sure that me and my siblings not only survived, but were thriving. And then it wasn't until my granny passed away and passed along her home that my parents were able to do something that's called retire. They probably wouldn't have been able to do it without it. My mom was a school teacher, dad was a social worker, lots of kids, lots of expenses. And that example of intergenerational wealth really woke me up. That kind of change can really change the trajectory for families and for communities. And to me, that's actually what social housing is about at its best. It's about being creative, thinking outside the box, pooling resources, and building something that really lasts across generations. And so social housing is a genuine attempt to break out of the habits to break us out of our habits as a community that haven't delivered. It's ambitious, but it's also designed to adapt, to learn, to improve, and execute over time and in real time. So that's why I'm proud to support this work, even knowing it will keep on evolving, because if we don't try new approaches, if we aren't innovating, if we don't break the patterns that got us here, we ain't gonna get anywhere. So with that, I just want to say, I want Seattle to be a place where more people can build stable lives right now in the city they love. So thank you for your work and keep it up.
Thank you, Alice. Thank you for all your kind words and support. And it's been a night of good news, but I want to roll out one more. So perhaps the most exciting perk of the Social Housing Activator Program is the opportunity to enter a raffle for a paid seat in our next social housing delegation, which is coming up this fall in, drumroll please, Vienna. Yeah. So we took a delegation to Vienna in 2024. It was a great trip. We know which ways we want to improve, what we want to keep. We know we can create an even better experience in 2026. It is really one of the gold standards of social housing, and so it is, a great place to return. In the future, we will definitely go to other locations, but Vienna is really a great place to learn from. So those of you who are activators will see more in your newsletters coming up. We're in the planning stages right now, but we will roll out more information when that is ready. So, like I said, we have 120 activators. If you're feeling like you want to join, you want to support this movement, I'll say, $115 million again. We created that from funding our initiative of $500,000, $500,000. So that is what we can do, and we can continue doing that. So I would love the goal tonight to be 150 activators at the end of the night. Raise your hand if you're going to sign up tonight. I'm not saying 30, but if you do want to sign up, head back to the table back there. Our board members, Amy and John, and if we need more volunteers, we can send more over there to help you sign up. And you'll get a welcome gift upon sign up as well. So that is it for me. Thank you for being here. I'm going to pass it back to Arisa to close this out.
All right, everyone, we talked about renters' rights. We talked about zoning. We talked about $115 million in revenue. And most of all, we talked about building a movement that is accountable to the voters who made it possible. I wanted to kind of get a sense for the folks who are in this room tonight. Raise your hand if you've been with House Our Neighbors since the Compassion Seattle days. Yeah. All right. What about I-135? Keep your hands up if you've been involved. And what about Prop 1A? Beautiful. Well, what I want to say is that I-135, Prop 1A, that was not the end. That was the beginning. And so what we need to do is to come together and make sure that we continue the momentum. So here are 3 things that I want you to do tonight. One of them is to sign up to be an activator on your way out. The second is to continue reading Jeff's emails and to volunteer with House Our Neighbors to keep the momentum going. And lastly, please keep showing up. Please keep coming to spaces like this. Please keep getting to know your neighbors and the communities that you are a part of, because that is the most powerful thing that we can do in this moment, is show each other the care and the love that we want to see. So thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you for being part of this movement. Thank you for organizing and making all of this possible. It is because of you. Have a great night, everyone.